Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the top 10 mythics to end up meddling. So, a couple years back, or when the mechanic ended up coming into the game, I covered a video going over basically a few things that you could medal for every single rarity, and in it we mentioned a couple mythics. However, there's now a way to directly upgrade mythics, and they're called Orbs of Glory. These can be obtained from a very small chance from orbs. The lesser is a 5% chance in a small orb, and the two bigger ones are a 3% chance and a 2% chance in a major orb, respectively, for the silver and then gold. These basically count as Nisha medals for upgrading mythics, as this will guarantee give you your first level, guarantee give you your second level, and guarantee give you your third level. And today we're just going to be going over a bunch of options that you can end up medaling with these. Of course, these are by no means the only options, and feel free to leave your own that you've upgraded in the description. I mean, in the comment section below if you want to go and mention any. Not mentioned here, but I'm just going over some if you have absolutely no idea really what direction to go for as far as medaling these. As far as using them, we might as well go, I guess, spoil some of them that we're going to be doing. I actually want to go for Mistralis. Iron God. Actually, there's a lot I still want to upgrade. But let's go for Mistralis here. Mistralis, we'll be explaining her a little bit more in a moment. But she is one that gains magic. Magic is pretty much one you can almost never go wrong with as far as upgrades are concerned. So if we just simply go over to more upgrades, do keep in mind it does have to be level 20 mythic. So if it's not a mythic, you would have to get it to mythic, though these orbs should only really ever be done on mythics. And it also has to be fully traded. So once we reach that point, we can simply go over to elite level, and normally what we would do is, we would need like 3 Anus, and then 2 Nisha, or single Nisha there, then 2 Nisha, then 3 Nisha in order to get it upgraded, at least at 100% chance, otherwise you have to deal with the whole RNG system. However, there's a very simple way to do it now. You just simply use a silver orb, she'll get a magic here, we do a silver one, or bronze and silver, get our 2 magic, and of course, then the major one. And then we get our 3 magic there. And now it has 6 additional magic that it didn't have before, which is great because it can hit up to 4 times, plus has 50 damage adjacent, which allows it to concentrate quite a bit of additional damage, especially if it gets lucky. Anyways, let's start from the top. So here's 4, but basically 2 categories that we're going to be going over initially. These are kind of what we just upgraded, anything that is magic-based. And the other category are basically support options. So first, let's go with the magic-based ones. These you can almost never go wrong. And the 1/2 that I mentioned here is the Phoenicia and Scourge of Honor. These are pretty much the go-to best AoE currently in the game. Keep in mind there is Diamantia, we'll be mentioning that in a moment. However, if you're just looking for just single, high impact, not ultra ridiculously hard to obtain, you're looking for like a Phoenicia or Scourge of Honor. These are ran for a lot of dailies. You can run it for Explore if you're looking to grind there. It's basically just an all-rounder, one-shot, cast it, and just do a lot of damage. Scourge of Honor is the other variant, except it's true damage. However, one nice thing about him is if you have to double cast, he has a little bit of a better range, so he gets a lot of his mana back, unlike Phoenicia, that needs to fill the entire 24 again, whereas he's normally going to have at least half his mana, if not more, already ready to go between his final trait, applying what he needs to get boost ratio for his mana back. So it's a little bit better if you need to like double cast your full AoE, plus it's doing true damage so you don't have to worry about the armor value. So that's the first one. The second one is basically any kind of support. So any kind of really good support, anything under that category can be a very good one to end up medaling. What I have here is the Karandera or Enraged Karandera as far as which one you might want to do. These are things that can apply Curse at a pretty decent rate. Of course, some other ones are Obsidious. Unfortunately, Obsidious doesn't gain as good of a bonus. This one actually gains... one thing that's really nice about this one, or these two, but, it's technically one. They're both... You use either one or the other. But the nice thing about this is, unlike something like a lot of other supports, most supports gain durability. As in, they become harder to kill. And this isn't bad, necessarily. It's not as good a value. I don't think a single one of them is actually on this list. Also, oddly enough, one other thing that's not on this list, Zul'Goth. One thing to keep in mind is just because a troop is good doesn't necessarily mean it's good to medal. You can still medal if you want. I think Zul'Goth gets like, what, 2-4 additional attack or something. However, it's generally not going to be worthwhile unless they get a lot of good bonuses, or you're going to be using it a lot to justify the just getting the few bonuses that you are. But anyways, 4 magic and 4 attack, so not only does this allow you to win quicker, but you're also doing it on something that is used pretty much primarily as a utility troop. In this case, both of these are used to curse the enemy. And then you also get a big damage burst onto your ability itself that's hitting all enemies and doing a Doom Skull convert, so you can end up getting a lot of value there. Anyways, what I was mentioning was Zul'Goth. Zul'Goth, of course, really high usage rate, really good mythic. But if we go and look at his upgrades, just because something's used a lot doesn't necessarily... Okay, it is 4 attack. Actually, it's the same one as what we just showed. But, yeah. He gets 4 attack, which, you know, that's not bad on him, but he's normally not used in first slot. He's also normally going to die so quickly that he's going to get like, what, 1 or 2 skulls normally, even once he is finally in position to start attacking. So very rarely is him being fully metaled going to give you that much more value. So even though I probably use this like every single day, him being gold metaled isn't necessarily worthwhile. And there's a lot of mythics that are like that, where they are really good, but not necessarily worth meddling. But you can still meddle them if you so choose, of course. Next is not Amithrax, but a troop I actually don't currently own, though I've gotten very unlucky. Some people have gotten luckier. I think we've gotten like 15, 16 dragons so far, but that's just kind of a placeholder for Diamantia. Diamantina, or however you want to pronounce this thing, basically the new replacement for like Phoenicia, once you can obtain it. Unfortunately, there's 2 drawbacks to that. One is as a really high mana cost, which means it won't as conveniently get to full mana. But the other issue is, gosh, is this thing rare? This is the main thing that you have to do to go get a bunch of bunch of Dragonites and then end up crafting, but you have to go through the whole RNG egg system. They might add a better way to be able to get it in the future as far as like targeting eggs and stuff like that, so you can actually finish this thing. I know I'm still missing the 1, and it just will not drop. However, this thing is really good. It has a very, very high AoE damage output, one that in certain situations can exceed that of Phoenicia. And yeah, it's just really big damage output. You have chance for extra turn, which is nice. So you have that as an option. Even ends up converting some skulls to doom skulls, so once you do clear the board, you'll be able to get some extra value, unless the enemy gets all the value from it first. But overall, has a lot of potential, and is one of those standard gain 6 magic ones, so similar to Phoenicia, Scourge of Honor, kind of in that same category, however relevant enough that it needs to be mentioned independently. So once ever you finally get this, definitely worth considering. The 6 other dragons are also worth considering. I personally don't feel like I'll be using them enough to justify using them. However, if you do, they are definitely good upgrades to go for, like this one right here, if you plan on doing a lot of purple builds with the dragon. Next is one of my favorites, and one you might actually see we already have leveled, of course, Arachnine Weaver. So this doesn't get used too often, but when it does, it gets a lot of value from its stats. Of course, this is most notably for Guild Wars. It allows it to have a slightly further kill range. I actually forget how much magic you get from this. I want to say only 2, but honestly, even just 1 is really good, because there's a huge difference between Arachnine Weaver killing and not killing. It not killing is 15 less explosions. You basically get all your mana back if this can kill. So having even just a singular extra magic on this thing can go a long ways. While it is primarily a Guild War option, you can use this in PvP-like situations and various true damage teams. So it's not exclusive only to PvP, though is one of the locations that you're probably doing it for. Has one of the better trait setups in the entire game. Stealthy Impervious with 75% chance to summon one of the best summons is a really, really good combination. For whatever reason, 20 mana cost as if it wasn't already strong enough. And, of course, a really good ability, and still one of the best webbers in the game, oddly enough, as well. Next, of course, we just actually upgraded it. Good old Mistralis. So, Mistralis, also a bit of a Guild War option. However, one thing that she does pretty nice, too, is be able to give a bunch of mana to all your allies that are mana blocked. So you can build a bit more of a mana block team. There's another troop that does this that's actually on this list as well, which is the... the Star Gem. Gosh, why do I forget its mechanic? It's I literally have it on the list. The Wish mechanic, which ends up giving full mana to things that are fully blocked. So you do have that as an option as well. However, you can also do it slowly off of enchant and then go for an auto extra turn ability. They both actually have a extra turn ability. And honestly, any mythic that gains an extra turn ability is pretty good to upgrade. If I'm not mistaken, I actually put every single mythic with an extra turn on this list as far as guarantee extra turns. I don't think I missed a single one, unless I did. But yeah, they're just that strong that pretty much if a mythic has auto extra turn, it is probably worthwhile. Actually, there is one I didn't. The one mana accumulating one, but I believe it just gains durability, so it's not as worthwhile. Whereas all these other ones gain magic or Iron Gut gaining attack and stuff like that, which is pretty relevant. But yeah, Mistralis hits multiple times, gains a lot of value from that magic. Can get bad RNG, but assuming it gets above average RNG, gonna get a lot of damage from that. Next, we have Lord of Slaughter. He gains 666 from this one. 6 attack, 6 HP, and 6 armor. This is pretty good because the biggest issue he normally has is he dies to his own skulls. He's normally used in the first slot or second slot, so he gets to use that durability pretty well. He's also hitting constantly with skulls, so he also gets to use the attack value. One of the better users of something like the 666 bonus. And overall, just really good. Just really high skull pressure, using first and second depending on what you want. And just allows him to survive a little bit longer and or do slightly more damage from being fully metaled. Next, we have ourselves Tina 9000. I would still say this is the best spell tank in the entire game, while there are things with higher reductions as a number, like 75% reduction, for example. The main thing that makes this thing so good is the fact that it has so much armor gain. It has 2 times its armor as 2 times its armor plus some value. Gosh, as like 8 Wow, that's high. I kind of forgot how high this is. Yeah, it's double its magic plus 8 as a armor gain. That is pretty insane. And this stacks with spell armor, or spell block. So as long as they're hitting with a physical, like Yagway, Queen of Tanya, or literally any spellcaster that hits physical damage, well, you're gonna get 50% reduction on top of a gigantic armor pull that you'll be able to pull from. And of course, it's also used for its true damage. Generally, it's going to get a kill. If it double taps something in a PvP-like situation, it'll normally kill. And having those little bit of extra stats, I do believe it gains a small amount of magic. Yeah, 2 magic there. It also gets 4 attack and a little bit of armor, which synergizes pretty well. Honestly, it gets a little bit of everything. I wish all this HP was in armor instead, because it does have a ability that also converts the armor into skull damage. But if nothing else, the little bit extra life makes up for its slightly below average HP pool and kind of fixes that out a little bit. So overall, just a really good spell tank that when it casts in a PvP-like situation is normally picking up a kill, and it being fully metaled just allows it to survive a little bit longer, as well as being able to potentially secure a kill a little bit easier, as it does raise up the amount of damage it can end up doing. Next, we have ourselves Ubistet. So Ubistet benefits in multiple ways. For one, it gains him more magic, but the other thing this ends up doing, as we've seen from the other strikers here, is it also ends up giving him some attack. This attack is pretty useful, as he does boost ratio off that attack. So he's going to not only get extra damage range from the magic that you're specifically getting, but also from the attack that you're getting. So it basically just helps him secure his kill. It's a very similar reason. Actually, I probably should have put this closer to Weaver. It's a very similar reason as to why you upgrade Arachne Weaver. Arachne Weaver is a troop that you end up benefiting quite a lot from if it can secure a kill. And Ubistet, as well as a few other mythics, can benefit from this quite heavily, where if they don't get a kill, they don't do much. If they do get a kill, they get a lot of value. And if you can metal them and get them slightly closer to be able to more consistently get that kill, they can become a lot better. Because Ubistet's generally one of those mythics very rarely used. If you are, it's probably like Rope Dart Ubistet with 2 mana accumulators, or something similar. We cast Rope Dart, cast Ubistet, cast mana accumulators. Well, I guess cast mana accumulators first, but you know what I mean. Then you go Rope Dart Ubistet, then Rope Dart Ubistet, and just do that twice, and then you win the whole battle. And being able to have a slightly higher kill range will allow that to work more consistently and in more areas in the game. Next up, we have High King Iron Gut, which honestly, I think I'm upgrading. A lot of these I want to upgrade, but of course, we do have a limited number. But the main benefit of Iron Gut, of course, really good Underworld option. I probably use him in every single time that he's possibly usable in Underworld. Main nice thing is he gains attack. He gains a little bit of attack. This allows him to have a better kill range, specifically 4 attack here. He also gains a little bit of magic. However, magic is generally not doing much unless you happen to be in a weird situation where you don't have like Curse or some kind of other mechanic where you can bypass the Devour. However, or Devour immunity. But the main reason why you do this is his higher attack value. And this allows them to be used in a much wider range of areas. One big issue Iron Gut has is pretty much if the mode doesn't give you additional attack, his attack is not high enough to function. However, with this little bit of additional attack, this is basically 4% higher Devour rate. So it'll make it easier to get your very first Devour, which can be problematic in any mode that pretty much isn't Underworld, as you will have a below 100 attack value, and with a below 100 attack value, you do not have a guaranteed Devour until you have Devoured once. So it just makes it a little bit easier to get that first Devour, and allows them to be used in other areas that aren't simply just Underworld all the time. So nice little upgrade on him. And lastly here, we do have someone who we kind of already briefly showed, Fairy Godmother. It's a mechanic that is very weird in that it can backfire. It's a 20% chance that it gives everything full mana, and when I say everything, I mean all the enemies and all your allies, so it can give it to your enemies as well. But Wish Gems is still to this day, specifically on Fairy Godmother, the best way to mana feed fully mana blocked units. While you do have things like Mistralis with Enchant, that's mostly good for partially mana blocked, like this mythic that's, let's say, blocked on like 2 out of 3 colors, and you just want to get like passive slightly more mana. Enchant works really well for that. However, if you're just looking to use like 2 of the exact same color troop because they just have really good abilities, but how you're going to mana accumulate for that? Well, you got Wish Gems. Wish Gems, when taken, will either give 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 of your allies full mana, though there is also a chance that it will give all 4 of your allies full mana, but also all 4 of your enemies full mana, which I believe is about 20% chance, assuming it is weighted evenly. And not only does it have Wish Gem creation off its final trait, it also has auto extra turn. As I mentioned, pretty much any mythic with auto extra turn, unless they're gaining durability, unless you want it for them, is a pretty good target for it. But yeah, I believe the only one I didn't do is Flaming Ani, I believe his name is the only one I believe with extra turn who I didn't do. And the main reason for this, and you might notice not a single one made it on this list, is durability. Durability is not necessarily bad, but when you're looking to something to upgrade, the biggest issue with durability is it's not your first priority. as far as upgrades are concerned. Like, of course, I believe Obsidious is one that you can end up doing. He's like a good utility troop. Anything that's like utility you can end up doing, but he only gains durability. This only gains durability. While this isn't necessarily bad, as you know, you can survive one additional hit in theory. From doing extra durability. The biggest issue with it is you don't win quicker. Like, he's not boost ratioing from any of the stats. It's not like he's doing something that will help you win at a quicker speed. He's simply just not dying as often. And this is less value than something that can help you win a little bit quicker. Like, for example, with Fairy Godmother here, look at this, another 6 magic gainer. So, of course, it does use magic 2 out of 3 times, either to deal damage to all enemies, or to gain a bunch of life for your allies. And that basically just extends the range of how useful she could be. Well, she is primarily used for a Wish Gem mechanic. Obviously, she does do other things other than simply that Wish Gem, and basically fully meddling her just makes her more beneficial in those situations. But anyways, that's my list of 10, technically 12, but these were the same category ones, so counting them as 10. Anyways, if you have any suggestions of your own, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Any of them that you've meddled that you found have been pretty useful for you. These are just my personal opinion as some that are pretty useful, most of which I've upgraded myself, as you can see, some of which we even upgraded during the video. And yeah, I really like those new medals. Definitely makes it very substantially easier to upgrade Mythics. Before, I think I only had 3 prior to this patch upgraded. Now I have 8, 10, somewhere around there. Definitely at least doubled them, that's for sure. And they are going to be more accessible than ever to end up doing between vault events and getting them from orbs that way. Basically, every single event has an orb on it. You can end up crafting them. There's just so many ways to get them now. And it'll just be nice progress rather than having to keep doing Explore 12 forever. While that will still be needed for the lower rarity stuff, however, all the higher rarity stuff, particularly Mythics, which are the main targets of these, are going to be way easier than ever to end up upgrading. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a like on the videos. It helps a lot and is greatly appreciated. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.